All right, ladies and gentlemen, Xbox's multi-platform strategy as clipped by PlayStation fan Jamie's ACT. Let's get in there and let's listen because this is from Sean Layden's interview that just recently got done. And, you know, everyone's going to have their own interpretation of, what they hear.
What is Sean's opinion on Microsoft's latest business strategy of making their IPs multi-platform? And will it increase or diminish Xbox brand value in the eyes of gamers?
Multi-platform is a strategy. Multi-platform means widening your addressable market, as the marketing guys say.
Before we even go in. Now, remember a while back, I showed you guys a few examples of the reactions that we've gotten from, PlayStation and Xbox users when their platforms decided to go multi-plat, right? If you don't remember, I'm going to go ahead and I'm probably going to refresh your memory. Well, there's one example, which is from the Crap Gamer from 2016 when Microsoft's Xbox was bringing Quantum Break to PC. This was an interaction that the Crap Gamer had with Phil Spencer. So there simply was a direct address to Phil from the Crap Gamer about moving the game to PC. In fact, in that particular encounter, the Crap Gamer pretty much canceled or claimed that he was going to cancel his pre-order. And, both of them, they were both, having a back and forth. And Phil was quite surprised and said, "You're going to cancel a game that you want to play because somebody else gets to play on Windows PC?" So this is that particular clip. I made a screenshot of the tweet so I can go ahead and access it whenever I wanted. This was in 2016. I also showed you another encounter on Twitter where a producer at Guerrilla Games was getting dragged by a, Santos Twitter user who was complaining that this Guerrilla developer was not aware of the fact that PlayStation's, whole, scheme and the games that they made and their brand was all made by exclusives. And that somehow, this was going to diminish the brand if they went ahead to put Horizon Zero Dawn on PC. So we're getting this whole thing straight because this complaint was already made by both parties when their games were going to PC. Does that make sense? That's the timeline I'm trying to establish here for everybody, because you're going to see the cognitive dissonance that tries to get played on both sides. And this is an indictment to those who just only think about exclusivity. It doesn't matter whether you're PlayStation or Xbox. You're going to pretty much see that, this whole talk about multi-plat and where you're sending your games is a very critical one, because you can't eat your cake and have it. Because at the time that Xbox was sending its games to PC, some people complained, some people said it was fine. And Xbox benefited from it very much so. It's how they kept their studios open. It's how they stayed afloat in business when everything seemed to be tanking at the time. So now that, they've basically kept their business afloat with multi-plat strategy, they are now deciding that they want to move into growth. Because again, look, their business has stayed afloat. Now they're making profit. They're seeing headways. And they're looking and saying the next front now is that we've already gotten our own gamers. Let's go ahead and redefine what the Xbox fan actually is. That's literally what they're going in to do. They're going to redefine what an Xbox fan is. And if you were wondering about that interaction with the PlayStation player, here it is. He's dragging this Guerrilla dev, Sam Sharma. He was a producer on Horizon Zero Dawn. And he said a former Guerrilla producer doesn't understand that the success built by his former company was done on the basis of outstanding exclusives, and that scrapping that exclusivity diminishes the brand. So mostly I've seen that console players, when their games were leaving their platform, PlayStation and Xbox, some of them, this is not all of them, felt this way. But they were actually, in a sense, giving a few reassurances. In the case of Phil, he literally basically called out the logic of the Crap Gamer as kind of weird. He just literally did in that one statement, like, you're going to cancel a pre-order? While in the case of PlayStation, Herman Holst made a statement on a PlayStation blog March 10, 2020. Shout out to the Video Game Festival community for pointing me to this blog, where he said, and to maybe put a few minds at ease, releasing one first-party AAA title to PC doesn't necessarily mean that every game now will come to PC, which is not the case. Everything is coming PC. Both Xbox and PlayStation by 2020 were in the situation where their games were multi-plat. Do you hear me? They were both third-party developers. So I see when people ask this question and say, what do you think about Xbox's multi-plat strategy? Is it going to diminish the brand? My dude, the multi-plat strategy has already been happening for years now. In fact, multi-plat strategy is actually trying to celebrate its 10-year birthday within the next 24 months or so. And the same case goes with PlayStation, who also adopted the multi-plat strategy, and as of a few days ago, has every PlayStation 5 game available, PlayStation 5 first-party exclusive, available on PC. So with this in mind, we jump to this question again, and we ask ourselves, I wonder what's being said, or I wonder what is insinuated here.
Just getting more people a chance to see it.
That's it. You get more people a chance to see your game. Herman Holst, he likes Horizon, and he was like, man, we need more people to play this game. Maybe they'll play the next iteration of the game, but it's on PC too.
What it does to their brand, I think, yeah, it makes the conversation harder to create. What you mentioned earlier is the FOMO. How do you create the FOMO? Trying to do that by bringing everyone to your platform, saying, if you're not here, you're missing out. But if it's available on all platforms, that's one of your marketing tactics you can't use. You can't say it's only available here if it's available everywhere. So
somebody in the audience was telling me that Sean was one of the people who was actually the person in charge of the only on PlayStation branding, where you could only, they basically ended up ensuring that, their PlayStation, games would say only on PlayStation. And he was the champion of that particular paradigm to, in a sense, according to this audience member of mine, make fun of, Xbox. You see, the reality is, you got to understand, you got to understand that for some of the folk in these particular communities, it's really weird, right? Like here, check this out. This person said, VG gone crazy since Xbox ported Forza to PS5. Tarnished of no renown 387. You have to understand, I've played Forza for exactly like 15 minutes. In fact, I fired it up and I was like, yeah, does it have couch co-op? I didn't even know I downloaded it. I was like, oh yeah. And it was like online play only. I played it for like 10 minutes and I just basically deleted it. It's not my forte in a sense. Racing games, not really. People have told me about Forza Horizon 4. In fact, they were like, you should buy it before it gets delisted. And I said, all right, out of respect for the community, I'm going to buy it. So again, I don't like exclusivity. I don't know why you somehow think that. See, what really destroys a lot of these PlayStation fanboys, arguments when they're talking about this stuff, if they want to pick fun at, Xbox fans, is it's not even really the Xbox fans that are saying much, that are making these videos. What I've noticed is a bunch of us that are making these videos that are calling out PlayStation fans. We play on PC. You know why we're calling out y'all? Because we're playing your games on PC while you guys are there yelling at Xbox saying, your games are not exclusive. And we're looking and saying, do you not see the irony in that? So we're trying to basically ensure that, the PlayStation fan, who is very quick to float in the air and gloat about everything, remains grounded. I feel like we now it's our duty to pretty much ensure that you guys don't float into the Lululand every single time.
It's a balancing act, right? I'm increasing my addressable market. Yay, that's good. I'm making it harder to sell the only on my platform story over here.
Sean, this is why I like people to talk. This was the same gentleman who said that exclusivity was any game's Achilles heel. Do y'all remember? Does anybody remember that? I made that video. It was April of, I think, last year. He said that. I remember making the video and I remember talking about it. The video got a lot of views, actually. Like I made it on like a very crappy microphone and all of that. And I remember him saying that because you reduce your addressable market when you do so. So he's saying that you don't have the FOMO, which is how, PlayStation has kind of branded itself. You can only get these games on PlayStation, but they no longer do that anymore, right? And the market is basically taking a big, huge marker and cross that only on PlayStation thing out of every PlayStation game. Why? Y'all PlayStation fans, you're not buying enough of these games. I saw somebody say that, these PlayStation games, they were profitable and, they sold this many copies. They sold that many copies. Yes. However, the percentage of the copies sold to the amount of consoles launched and so to the amount of consoles sold and available out there is abysmal when compared to Nintendo. Even with bundles and stuff, these games are still selling. And like I've said before, it seems like the max buying power that we have for now on the PlayStation 5 is around 15 million for their big selling games. Whereas the Switch 2, its max buying power with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is 72 million. Isn't that crazy? And a lot of those games that are even on PS5, many of them, like God of War Ragnarok, were available on the PS4. So no one was buying these games in comparison. And I'm not saying nobody bought it, absolutely nobody. I'm just saying in comparison, the percentages are super low, like abysmally low when you compare them to other titles on the other platform that does practice traditional exclusivity. Hence, PlayStation having a higher AAA game budget than Nintendo is hemorrhaging way much cash and time in its investment to be able to get something like that done. That's where you see a problem. If you don't see the problem, then just keep waiting and see them cancel more games. That's what you're going to see. Other people are saying, oh, they canceled these live service games. They're backtracking to single player games. Yo, they canceled some live service games, and it seems like those games were early in development at least. But that doesn't mean they're not going to chase down that dollar, and that doesn't mean that the ones that are already deep in development are still not going to be, are not going to be worked on. They're going to be worked on. They need that money. They need it. They need the $400 million investment that's going to bring them $3 billion. And those $3 billion is no longer going to be coming easily like it did with Spider-Man 2018. The other games have been seeing fire and thunder after all the investment being put in.
So we've seen it before. I mean, I was in the business when Sega brought their Dreamcast titles to PlayStation 2.
Mm.
And in time, then Sega became a software-only company.
You see, I can go ahead and just say, I was in the business of talking about games. I was in the business when, PlayStation brought its games to Nintendo Switch. See, this is the... Oh, my gosh. I love the way, almost everybody wants to equate to the Sega, paradigm, with this time when they brought their games to... I was there, see, let us stop fooling ourselves, bro. Let's stop this. Look at this. PlayStation Publishing, Nintendo Switch, November 14, 2024. I told you guys this was my favorite game. This game is my favorite game to talk about because the game literally upended all the trash arguments that I'd had to deal with after telling people that the market is pushing this company. This is out of swallowing their pride. This game didn't even launch on the PS4. And it launched on the Nintendo Switch. And so-called PlayStation fans can't even point out the discrepancy here and say, come on, PlayStation. You prioritize the Nintendo Switch and PC day one for a Lego game. And when you tell them and say, guys, this is a Lego game. This is what they're doing. They tell you it's not a PlayStation game. That's literally what they'll tell you. They'll move the goalpost out of convenience because, again, cognitive dissonance is the play of the hyper PlayStation fanboy. Even if I have here a tweet of this person, Tim Ma, who is a lead producer, franchise development of Gorilla, saying, I still cannot believe we pulled it off. Developing a AAA game for Nintendo Switch by PlayStation Studios. Look at that. They're celebrating because developers actually like their games to be played by people. The old school model is gone. And even Sean knows it right here. He's like, yeah, this is a tough situation.
And have but a great transformation in that respect. Let's be honest, they're doing great.
Yeah.
So it does have historical precedence.
Well, if it does have historical precedence, well, I guess both Xbox and PlayStation, based on that analysis, I can safely conclude, Sean, and Jamie's ACT, that PlayStation is dead. Thanks for watching. Peace out.